governor's house. This is where he lived while he was in Jamestown.
May I come in?
Sure.
So is the governor on a trip?
I think so.
Hold up my solicitor, so the second voice that the lawsuit. They said, they were ready to buy. Take away law, take away the public stuff. Well, what do I just say? My bullet.
This ship here is named the Susan Constant. It carried the first English settlers to enter the New World, otherwise known as America. welcome to the Indian village. This is where the Powhatan Indians lived.
Well, I'm doing a couple of different things today. I'm talking about bags. So a lot of what I'm doing is talking about the variety of bags that Powhatans would have, or the variety of containers, I guess you could say. So all of these are, you've got woven baskets, you've got bags that are made out of deer skin. So you can take a look at that. You can
It's
see
soft.
Yeah, I'll let you. And then you've got baskets. So there's just bunches of ways to carry things for these folks. They also made pottery for cooking. And so you can imagine that you've got a clay pot like this. You've probably worked with clay before in school, maybe.
Yeah.
Have you ever made a pinch pot? You take a
Yeah.
ball of clay and make it into a bowl.
Yeah.
Well, this piece of pottery right here, which you probably saw at the fire pit, started out as a pinch pot, and then we rolled out long pieces of clay that look like steaks and add those coils to the pot and blend them in. So we have other, that's a container that can be cooked in, whereas all these other things are containers that you're going to carry stuff in.
So is this real deer skin?
It is. All of the things, this is real deer skin as well. It's just tanned a little differently. This is a woven bag. So deer skin is important. My dress is deer skin. And so it's going to be a material that the people are going to use, because they did weave, but they didn't weave cloth for, say, wearing. They're going to weave baskets and containers and things like that. But when they wanted clothes or bags or anything like that, they use the deer hides. So that's why you'll see so much deer skin around, and you'll see the deer hides in your house, piles of deer hides for your bedding, and lots of baskets for carrying stuff in the house as well. So what I've been doing right here is working on another bag, because my motto is a girl can't have too many bags. And so I'm lining up the deer hide. So when I take this, so why don't you come around here? Hi there. Hi. I love that red jacket you have on. It's very nice. Powhatans were partial to red. Okay, you're going to take a hammer and you're going to tap this in until I tell you to stop. Okay, keep going. All right, stop. All right, so now we know for sure that we've got that hole punch right through both layers of the deer hide. So that's how I'm lining them all up, is doing both layers at a time. So when I am sure about putting the bag together, I know that it's going to line up, all the holes are going to line up. And so this is my absolutely favorite hole punch. I thought I had lost it last week, and I was like in a panic, because it's so wonderful. And then that you have a nice rock for a hammer.
So is this made out of bone?
It is. It's made from a deer bone.
Oh, that's cool.
So the deer's, let's see, I don't know if I have a long bone, but it would be the long bone. Oh, wait a minute, I might. No, I don't know. Yeah, I do. Okay, this is a toolkit. I don't think the Powhatans kept their tools in a toolkit, but I don't want to lose what I've made.
Cool.
So this is a deer leg. So that bone right here, if you put it up against the bone here, you'd see that it's made from this part of the deer leg. So this is a turkey leg. These are basket weaving needles. They're made, from a bone like this. So this is just half a deer leg I have in there, just to show you that, several kinds of bones can be used. So this one's a little stronger than the turkey bones, are a little bit brittle, but I do have some beads that I've made that are made out of turkey bone, and they're very pretty because it's a hollow bone. Wing bones are hollow, so I like to use those. And so I like to also talk about where the tendon comes from. Like, tendon is this part of our, if you pretend like you're taking your pulse and you put your hand on your tendon, you can feel it working. So this tendon, the Powhatans would use for tying tools together. So this is a bone arrow point, this is a stone arrow point, this is a stone arrow point, and the arrows would be made out of reeds that the men would get from the marshes. So these are just some spare reeds that the guys have made fishing traps out of, but they're hollow. So the men would make hollow, I guess, arrow shafts, you'd call them, out of the arrow shaft, and sometimes they would put wooden points on them. This one's broken now, so we can't really use it as an arrow, but sometimes they would put wooden points, sometimes stone points, sometimes bone points. You're hunting deer, or maybe you're trapping animals. You've got to eat, and so you'll have lots of fish and shellfish in the summer, and you'll have lots of deer meat and meat of other animals in the wintertime when those fish go way down into the deep part of the water.
How do they tan the hides to get them to be this soft? I mean, you look at the one that's in the tree over there, and that's not soft at all.
That's right. That's raw hide right now. The hide still has to be scraped of its raw hide. So I would say we get the majority of our deer hides from hunting clubs in the local area. So during hunting season, people will bring deer hides. They don't want to throw them away, and they want them to be used, and so they bring them to us. We freeze them, and then we use them as we need them. So what has to be done first, if you're going to make something like what I'm wearing, you've got to scrape all this inner fiber off. This is would be what would be considered this would be where the fur is. Well, this would be where the fur is. This would be the flesh side. So you've got to get all that hair off, and then you have to scrape all that rawhide off of there to get it down to that base layer. It's a very long, involved process.
What do you use to scrape it?
Usually they would use stone scrapers. They would take sharp rocks and they would embed them in a handle and use those stone scrapers or shells. A lot of times there should be some shells over there if you guys want to give it a try on there. There should be some oyster shells in the there's a little, like a tree stump, and there should be some in there that you can try. But it is a lot of work. It takes a lot of what my mom used to call elbow grease, really hard work to get that rawhide off. But they were very strong, and you guys would be helping out doing these things, So, and girls would be helping out doing all that. But you have a lot of these tools that you're seeing here. You guys would have different arrow points. They could be made out of bone. They don't always have to be made out of stone. So these are both stone. This is a bone arrow point, and it goes into a reed, which would have feathers on the end of it.
I'm glad I came over here because I really like bows and arrows and all that. I just think they're really cool.
Well, they are. And so, archery is something that's been around for a really long time. You had English archers, you had the Powhatan archers, they're using bow and arrow. So I think the bow and arrow has been an important weapon for hunting, but also for defense for a really long time.
Yeah, because before they invented the pistol, they had to have bows and arrows.
Absolutely. So it was definitely a must.